Good morning, students. CSAT has always been a pain in aspirants' preparation life. Why? Because there are so many misconceptions which are around CSAT. And whatever you try to do, there has always been some or the other thing which either changes or stops aspirants in achieving their goal of cracking UPSC CSE. In this lecture, we'll try to figure it out some of the mistakes which usually aspirants do, and also how we can change it, how we can modify it, and most importantly, what should be our strategy while preparing for this particular exam. So this lecture is about mastering CSAT. CSAT is a cunning villain. We all know that. Why? Because you must have heard many of the stories. I personally know few of my friends who have previously cleared mains, given interview, but still in their next attempt failed to clear CSAT. There are many who score 120 to 130 plus in GS paper 1 but fail the cutoff for CSAT by just half or 1 mark. And that is the reality. That is the problem with CSAT, with the aspirants who are taking this. The issue is there are few very common challenges with everybody. What are all those common challenges are? Time management, lengthy comprehension, math anxiety. These are just few basic things, but it's not enough. There are many more mistakes which usually students commit, and we'll try to figure it out what all those are. Before this, we'll go to the key points. These are the basic things we know about CSAT. You must be aware of it. However, just to give you a brief, it's paper 2 for prelims. Obviously, we know that. Duration is for 120 minutes. Total questions are 80 MCQs instead of 100 in paper 1. There are negative marking, no doubt about it, and maximum score is 200, so that 2.5 marks per question. And negative marking as the paper with the paper 1, 1/3 of the marks allocated. That means 0.83 marks are being deducted if you get a question or an answer wrong. The thing is, it is of qualifying nature. And be very clear, this is a key thing. This is qualifying, so that you just require minimum 33% of the marks just to qualify it. This does not get included in your prelims final score. And the problem with this qualifying nature is, if you fail to secure the qualifying marks, you will not go for mains. You have to write prelims again. And that's the most crucial nature. And the major mistake which we'll talk about is when students think this is just a qualifying nature, they underestimate CSAT. These are some of the mistakes which we'll talk about. First is underestimating CSAT. Why? Because they think it's a qualifying paper. Their entire focus is on GS paper 1. Fine, you have to study all other subjects. You have to study your optional, you have to study for GS, you have to prepare for prelims, for mains, for essays, for your optionals. But what we think about CSAT determines how we are going to score in it. What will be our score, whether we'll be able to qualify it or not. Because this is just a qualifying paper, sometimes we ignore its intensity, we ignore how we are going to prepare it, we ignore to create a strategy behind it. That's the problem. There is a lack of consistent preparation. Now, before we further go into it, we need to tackle few elephants which are in the room. What all those are? One is English. Another is engineering. Students think that either you have to have very good English or you have to be an engineering student, and then only you can crack this. For everyone else, this is going to be a nightmare. There is a partial truth in it, but only partial. Most of these are misconceptions. Why? See, there are three major categories which are there. One is reasoning. Another is reading comprehension. Another is quant. Now, if you are really good at English, maybe you can score better marks in reading comprehension. If you are an engineering student, but mind you, just being an engineer is not sufficient. You have to have better understanding of reasoning and quant. Then only you can score qualifying marks in CSAT. Just being an engineer doesn't give you 100% guarantee that you are going to score 66, 67 marks in CSAT. Because I have dealt with many such students who are engineers but fail to score these marks. Now, we get some ideas. Fine. For English, you need reading comprehension. It's obviously better if you have good English. But the thing is, the kind of answers, the kind of options are there in questions of reading comprehensions. It's not sufficient to just know the English. It's not just about the language. It is about understanding. It is about getting the argument. It is about getting the exact point and what exactly they are asking. And another important factor which comes into play is time. What happens when you are reading these comprehensions? It takes a lot of time. And then you are left with less time to attempt these questions. And that's the problem with RC. Now, these are some of the major points which you must know before you start preparing for CSAT. You must have gone through the syllabus. You must have seen what type of questions can be asked. You may already have written some exams, but whenever you are feeling trouble in CSAT, you have to start from the scratch and look inside. These are the strategies we are going to talk about in this and upcoming lectures. But first, this particular lecture is focusing on the mistakes. The first mistake which we understood is underestimating CSAT, because we are either just focusing on paper 1 or we are not doing consistent preparation. The second is missing easy scoring opportunity. This is a big one. Why? As I was referring to these 3 points, what happens, sometimes we feel that I have to solve a particular question from this or from this. Because of your ego, because of this tendency to score from this particular section, you miss out very easy questions from these sections. And that brings down your marks. This is again a very major problem, because you are ignoring specific type of questions from these categories, under some sections under these categories as well. And you are not prioritizing your strength and leaving out your weaknesses. That's very crucial, because time management again is key for this particular exam. Next is PYQs. What we do, we practice a lot of PYQs for GS paper 1 and also for mains for your optionals too. But for CSAT, we miss this. We miss this. And that's a trouble. Because if you're skipping previous year questions, what you're skipping is insights, patterns, and difficulties. Easiness also. This is why you have to be cautious of PYQs. But how exactly and when exactly you should attempt these PYQs? Should you start with it? Should you do it while you are preparing, or should you save these for the last month before the exams? Again, this is something we'll talk about in upcoming lectures too. Next is overconfidence. See, we talked about underestimating CSAT, but we're also talking about overconfidence in basic skills. What we sometimes think, okay, this is just up to 10th level, 10th class, and it's just maths and English. But you must be aware that even for NCRTs, for your GS paper 1 and for your mains, it's again, all those subjects are up to the 10th or 12th level. In that scenario, sometimes if you are very confident about these basic skills, be it reasoning, be it quant, be it calendar, be it images, be it any type of decision making, you may assume without checking, without corroborating with the fact, with mock tests, with PYQs about your strength, about your weaknesses, you just assume. And this guesswork, be it in the exam or before it, will hamper your marks. Next is irregular revision. I have heard from many students that when they begin preparation, they prepare a lot, they give a lot of time on CSAT because they are not very good at it, and also maybe at the end of it. But in between, they completely skip it out. So what happens, they are not able to understand the time management part. They fail to recognize the changing patterns. They fail to understand in which particular segment they have to work more. This is problem with irregular revision because you lose touch with key concept, with time management or any other pattern. Now, this is another crucial thing. These are some of the mistakes which we do during exams. What we do? The first is always and always poor time management. And why does this happen? Because we haven't looked at PYQs, we haven't practiced a lot, and also we are not sure about our strengths and weaknesses and what type of questions can be asked, their toughness or difficulty level, or their how easy those questions are. This is again a major problem because we spend a lot of time on these tough questions, these difficult questions, because we want to solve it. We feel that no, I am an engineer, I have to solve this. I am good at English, I have to solve this. I have read this particular question 2 times. If I'll not solve it, it will hurt my ego. That's the trouble. If you spend a lot of time on any particular question, you are going to lose 2 to 4 more questions. And if you get a negative, then again that will be another question from your end. This is a major problem. Next is related to this itself. Because you are spending too much time on this, you leave out easy questions because you don't have time. Next is over-reliance on guesswork. Thankfully, because of changing pattern and how UPSC knows what teachers are teaching, what faculties and IAS Babas are teaching, they know that blind guesses are happening in the exams. And that's why they have changed a lot of questions, a lot of patterns, so that these blind guesses will fetch you negative marks. However, in CSAT, there are still some techniques which can be used for guesswork. But the key here is over-reliance. Are you just focusing on guesswork and doing blind guesses so that you can just qualify it or get much more marks, or you are doing it based on some fundamental reasoning? Because CSAT is a paper of reasoning, logical reasoning, general reasoning and decision making. You have to be very cautious of this. Another big mistake which aspirants do is lack of confidence. See, we have talked a lot about how CSAT is a difficult paper. It can be difficult for many, how you have to be very cautious, how people do not qualify even after scoring very good marks in GS paper 1. We also talked about what all mistakes and misconceptions are there. But what happens when we discuss all of these things? We lose our confidence. We think that this particular paper is not for me. We think that as I was not good at maths during my school days, that's why I didn't take maths, I am not going to score much. The beauty of maths or the beauty of this particular paper is, if you lose your confidence, you are definitely going to lose in this exam. The very key part is to have faith in you, to have confidence, and when we go for any questions which require reasoning, which require analytical skills, which require good decision making, you have to have confidence. Confidence in your ability to read, ability to add, subtract, ability to do basic maths, ability to understand and analyze, and all of this do quickly. That confidence, that faith is essential for scoring good marks during your exams. So, these are some of the points, these are some of the mistakes which we do while we are preparing or during the exams. Time management, reliance on guesswork, lack of confidence. But there is one thing which is still missing. What is it? It is lack of personalized strategy. Why this? See, when you are preparing for GS paper 1, you are preparing for mains, what happens? Let's say you have your graduation in sociology or political science. You take that optional usually, or you know that you are good at a segment of GS. But for this particular scenario, sometimes we fail to make or prepare a personalized strategy which should work for you. You may be an engineer, you may not be. You may be a doctor or you may not be. You may be somebody who hasn't had a good experience with maths for last 8 to 10 years. It doesn't matter. Whatever your situation is, the exam will be same for everybody. You have to adjust yourself, your preparation strategy and your practice, which will suit CSAT. This is crucial. The strategy should be for this. How we will make this, how you will go for reasoning, how you will go for RC, how you will go for quant, how you will distribute all those questions, all those sections, which one should be taken care of first. These are some of the points we have to prepare. What we usually do when we fail to make a personalized strategy, we are not sure about our individual strengths as well as weaknesses, and we fail to relate it with the questions which are asked in the exams. And here, as you are not aware of these, you are already failing to match the requirement with the efforts. What you require for the exam and also what your effort should be. This is again a crucial thing, and only through strategy you will be able to do this. That's why this is the most crucial mistake, that there is no personalized strategy focusing on CSAT. It's fine, we have to give some time to it. We have to decide whether it will be early, in the middle or at the latest stage. We have to decide we want to go for it daily, weekly, monthly, or with the questions, with the classes, whatever manner you want to study CSAT for. But you have to have this. For that, the first thing is you have to assess you have to assess with the questions. Now these questions can be PYQs, these can be mock, but first you will assess, then only you can understand these two things, and then you can match this, right? This is a very crucial mistake. And now with these classes, with these lectures, this is what we're trying to understand, this is what we'll try to figure out. What should be your strategy? Which strategy will work for you so that you can score 70 plus, 80 plus marks in CSAT. So at least you can qualify it without any trouble. And if you're going to score much more, fine, you will be at ease. In these programs, in these lecture series, in these classes, we will try to figure this out. We'll try to find out the personalized strategy. We'll try to figure it out, what should we prioritize? Which section, which type of questions, be it reading comprehension or quant, be it reasoning, what you will prioritize, and also how you will mix time management with it. We'll try to figure it out, techniques, some may involve guesswork, but most importantly, what usually works and will not give you negative marking. Obviously, it will have PYQ analysis, and the crux of it, the major points, it will increase your speed and accuracy. So we will plan accordingly so that you can first assess, prioritize, and also increase these things. Next is, and the most important part is to build confidence. The only thing which I usually hear from students is, I'm bad at maths, I fear maths, I fear mathematics, calculation, that's why I fear CSAT. We'll try to remove those fears. We'll try to figure it out what all your strengths are so that you can get this confidence. And as I have said earlier, this is again a very, very crucial thing during your exams and before that. That's how we are going to plan. That's how we are going to have these lectures in coming few weeks. Then in the next class, we'll try to figure it out, how to score 70 plus in CSAT. A proven strategy, but most importantly, which will work for you. You can modify it according to your strengths and weaknesses, but this is something which will work for anybody. We'll figure it out in your next class. Till then, all the very best. Thank you.